Welcome to your sleep story. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Whatever this day was, however long it felt, however much it carried, it is behind you now, completely behind you. You made it through, and that is everything. So let's begin. Before I take you anywhere tonight, I want to count you down from 10 to 1. And as I count, I want you to allow yourself to sink just a little deeper into wherever you are right now. Feel the weight of your body. Feel what is beneath you, holding you. And with each number, just let go a little more. 10. Allow your eyes to close. Gently, completely. There is nothing you need to see right now. 9. Feel your shoulders and let them drop as far as they want to go. 8. A slow breath in through the nose. 7. And all the way out. 6. Your hands. Feel them opening. Whatever you've been holding today, you can put it down now. 5. Your jaw is soft. Your face is soft. 4. Your legs are heavy, warm. 3. You're drifting, not asleep yet, but moving that way. 2. The day is behind you, completely and entirely behind you. 1. And now, tonight's sleep story, the relaxation. Before we go anywhere, I want to stay here with you for a moment. Just here, just now, because this moment, this exact moment right now, where you are lying in the quiet, deserves a little attention, a little kindness. Take a breath in for me, from the very bottom of the belly. Good, and let it go. And as you breathe out, I want you to imagine that everything you were carrying today, every worry, every unfinished thought, every heavy thing is just leaving with that breath, just drifting away. You don't have to solve anything tonight. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are right now. A person who deserves rest. A person who deserves sleep. Because you do. You really do. Whatever happened today, however hard it felt, however much it carried, you made it through. You are here. And that is enough. That is more than enough. You are safe. And you are here. Bring your awareness gently to your feet now. Just notice them and allow them to soften. The toes uncurling, the arches releasing. All the small held tension of the day simply letting go. Let that softness travel upward, through the calves, through the knees, the thighs. All of it warm, all of it heavy, all of it resting now. Your lower back, your hips. Allow yourself to feel the surface beneath you taking your weight completely, fully. You don't have to hold yourself up anymore. The earth has you. The mountain has you. The belly soft. The chest soft. The heart beating steadily as it always has, as it always will. Your shoulders dropping, your arms heavy and warm, your hands open and still, the neck long and loose, and your face, let the jaw go. Let the forehead smooth. Let the eyes be completely still behind their lids. There you are, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, completely soft, completely warm, completely at rest. You've done beautifully. Now, let me take you somewhere. Somewhere the prayer flags move gently in the mountain air, and the wood smoke rises from a stone chimney, and a farmhouse painted in bright colors sits against a green valley in the kingdom in the clouds. Come with me, the road into the valley. Imagine a road in Bhutan, in the central valleys, perhaps Bumthang or Puneka, or a smaller valley with no name that appears on any map most people would recognize. It does not matter exactly which. What matters is this: a road climbing through forested mountains, the kind of mountains that rise so steeply and so continuously that the sky seems narrow, glimpsed only in a long blue ribbon directly overhead. The road is narrow. It switches back on itself, again and again, climbing through forests of blue pine, and then higher through forests of rhododendron and oak, the trees draped in long beards of gray-green moss that hang from every branch, swaying very slightly even when there seems to be no wind at all. Prayer flags. They appear first at a high pass, strings of them, the 5 colors, blue and white and red and green and yellow, representing sky and air, fire, water, earth, strung between trees and poles, fluttering, faded by sun, and rain into soft pastel versions of their original brightness. Each flag, you would learn if you asked, carries a printed prayer, and the wind passing over it is believed to carry that prayer outward into the world. The wind has been carrying these prayers for a very long time. The road descends now into a valley. Terraced fields appear below, rice paddies in the lower valleys, their geometric shapes following the contour of the land, the way Lorenzo's Italian terraces once did. Though these are older in spirit, if not always in age, the terracing of mountain valleys being one of humanity's oldest and most patient agricultural inventions. And there, on a rise above the paddies, half hidden by a stand of walnut trees, a farmhouse, white walls, dark wooden trim, painted designs in red and gold around the windows, smoke rising from a chimney into the cooling evening air. You begin to walk toward it. The farmhouse. It is built in the old way, the traditional Bhutanese farmhouse. And this style of building has barely changed in centuries. The same proportions, the same methods, passed down through generations of builders who learned by working alongside their fathers and grandfathers. Exactly as Lorenzo learned his garden from Bernardo, exactly as Merwin learned her spinning. The walls, rammed earth, not brick, not stone exactly, though stone forms the foundation. The walls themselves are built of earth, compacted in layers between wooden forms, pounded by hand or by foot, until the material becomes nearly as hard and durable as stone itself. This technique, used across the Himalayan region for centuries, produces walls of extraordinary thickness, often a meter or more, that keep the interior cool in the brief mountain summer and hold warmth through the long, cold winter. The walls are whitewashed, bright white, freshly limed, the way Bhutanese farmhouses are traditionally whitewashed each year before certain festivals. A small ritual of renewal performed by the household together, around the windows and along the upper edge of the wall, just beneath the roofline painted decoration, floral motifs in red, blue, yellow, and black, and traditionally, though more discreetly placed than visitors sometimes expect, symbols believed to ward off misfortune, small, specific, ancient images that have been painted on Bhutanese farmhouses for so long that their original meaning has become woven inseparably into the meaning of home itself. The roof, wooden shingles in this part of the valley, weighted down with stones to keep them in place against the mountain wind. Though in some regions the roofs are corrugated metal now, the older wooden shingle roofs becoming less common as materials change with the decades. This farmhouse still has its wooden shingles, old, gray-brown with age and weather, the stones holding them in place worn smooth by generations of rain. Beneath the main roof, a wide, open loft space used for drying chilies and corn. The harvest hung in long strings, swaying gently in whatever air moves through the open sides. The whole building, 3 stories in the traditional way, the ground floor for livestock, the family's cattle, and the household's small herd of yaks, if they keep them, kept warm through winter by their own body heat, rising up through the wooden floor above, the middle floor for living, the kitchen, the family altar room, the sleeping spaces, and the top floor, often partly open, for storage and drying. You climb the wooden ladder stair to the entrance. The first breath, smoke greets you first. Wood smoke, pine mostly, burning in the kitchen hearth. The particular resinous smell of mountain pine that fills every Bhutanese farmhouse kitchen. And that, for anyone raised in this country, becomes the very smell of childhood, of home, of evening. Beneath the wood smoke, butter, salted butter tea, suja simmering somewhere nearby, its smell rich and slightly savory, utterly unlike any tea smell most visitors have encountered before. A smell that takes some getting used to for outsiders, and that becomes, for those who grow up with it, one of the deepest comforts imaginable. And beneath the butter, chili, drying chilies, strung in long ropes from the rafters, their sharp, slightly smoky fragrance mingling with everything else in the warm kitchen air. And rice, red rice, the variety grown in these high valleys, a rice unlike any other, with a nutty, slightly chewy quality, steaming now in a large pot somewhere near the hearth. And incense, a thin curl of it rising from the small household altar in the corner of the main room, juniper incense, most likely, the resinous, slightly sweet smoke that has been burned in Bhutanese homes for centuries as an offering. A small daily ritual repeated so many times across so many generations that it has become simply part of the air itself. all of it together. Smoke and butter, and chili and rice and juniper incense. The smell of a Bhutanese evening. Your eyes adjust to the low light. You say, the main room. Low ceilings, dark wooden beams, smoke blackened from generations of hearth fires. The wood so saturated with decades of smoke that it has taken on a deep, glossy black sheen, almost like lacquer. Though no lacquer was ever applied, only smoke and time, and the slow, patient work of both. The floor, wooden planks, wide, worn smooth by bare feet, and the soft leather soles of household slippers. The wood the color of strong tea, where it has absorbed the oils and smoke of decades of daily life. In the center of the room, or near one wall, depending on the house's particular layout, the hearth, not a fireplace in the Western sense, set into a wall, but an open hearth, a simple stone-edged fire pit set into the floor, or on a raised stone platform, the fire built directly upon it, the smoke rising up and finding its way out through gaps in the roof structure, or through a small smoke hole in the older style of construction, rather than through a proper flue. The fire glows, orange, steady, a pot of butter tea simmering at its edge, the cook occasionally stirring it, occasionally adding a little more salt or a little more butter, by feel, by long habit. Never quite the same twice, and yet always, somehow, exactly right. Cushions and low wooden seats line the walls. Thick woven textiles, the bright geometric patterns of Bhutanese weaving, reds and oranges and deep blues, made on traditional looms by women whose skill in weaving has, for centuries, been one of the most respected crafts in Bhutanese culture. And in the corner, the altar, the household shrine, a small wooden cabinet, ornately carved and painted, holding images of Buddhist deities, butter lamps burning steadily before them, the thin curl of juniper incense rising from a small brass holder. This room is the heart of the house. It always has been. PMA. She is 64 years old. Her name is Pema. She has lived in this farmhouse, in this valley, for her entire life, born in the room just beyond this one, in the same bed her own mother slept in, raised by parents who farmed this same land, who tended this same small herd of cattle, who built fires in this same hearth. She has not traveled far from this valley. She does not feel this as a limitation. The valley has given her everything she has needed. The rice paddies that her family has worked for at least 4 generations. The small kitchen garden behind the house where she grows chilies and turnips. And the leafy greens that go into nearly every Bhutanese meal. The forest above the house where she gathers mushrooms in the autumn and firewood throughout the year. The small temple a short walk down the valley where she has gone to make offerings every full moon for as long as she can remember. She is sitting beside the hearth now, stirring the butter tea, her hands strong, broad, the hands of someone who has spent a lifetime working with soil and wood and wool and dough. Move with the easy, unconscious confidence of someone performing a task she has performed perhaps 20,000 times in her life. She does not need to think about how to make suja. Her hands know the churning motion, traditionally done in a long wooden churn, the tea and butter and salt beaten together until they emulsify into something between a tea and a soup, rich and warming, and utterly suited to mountain evenings that turn cold quickly once the sun drops behind the western ridge. She stops churning. She tastes a small nod. Good. The hearth. Let me tell you about the fire in this room. It is not simply a fire for cooking, though it is certainly that too. The rice steams above it. The tea simmers beside it. And later, the evening's curry will be prepared in a blackened pot set directly on the coals. It is the center of the household's daily rhythm. In a Bhutanese farmhouse, especially in the colder valleys, and especially in the long winter months, the hearth fire is rarely allowed to go out entirely. It is fed throughout the day, built up in the morning, maintained through the afternoon, fed again in the evening, and banked at night to hold a bed of coals that can be coaxed back to full flame quickly the next morning. The wood, pine mostly, gathered from the forest above the house. Pema's husband and sons gather it through the autumn, splitting and stacking it under the eaves of the house where it can dry through the winter. The woodpile itself, a kind of household calendar, shrinking steadily from autumn to spring, a visible record of how much of the cold season has passed and how much remains. The smoke, it rises and finds its way out through gaps in the roof and around the eaves. And over the years, this smoke has done something remarkable to the interior of the house. It has blackened and sealed the wooden beams and rafters, and in doing so, it has actually preserved them. The smoke contains creosote and other compounds that resist insects and rot. The very thing that might seem, to an outsider's eye, like simple grime or neglect, is in fact one of the oldest and most effective wood preservation techniques in this part of the world. The smoke protects the house. It always has. Pema's grandmother taught her this, the way Bernardo taught Lorenzo about respecting the bronze patina rather than polishing it away. You do not scrub the smoke-blackened beams clean. You let the smoke do its work. It is not dirt. It is protection. The family altar in the corner of the room, the household shrine, deserves a closer look. This is, in many ways, the most important room, or corner of a room, in any traditional Bhutanese home. Bhutan is a deeply Buddhist country, and the household altar is where that faith finds its daily, intimate expression. Not in a grand temple, attended occasionally, but in this small, carefully tended space, attended to every single day. The altar cabinet, carved wood, painted in the same red, blue, yellow, and gold that decorates the farmhouse's exterior. The same colors and motifs, repeated at every scale, from the whole building down to this small cabinet. A consistency of aesthetic that runs through every level of Bhutanese material culture. Inside, images of Buddhist figures, often the Buddha himself, but also, very commonly in Bhutan, images of Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, the great Indian teacher credited with bringing Buddhism to Bhutan and Tibet in the 8th century, a figure of enormous importance throughout the Himalayan Buddhist world. Before these images, 7 small bowls of water refreshed each morning, representing offerings of water for drinking, for washing the feet, for bathing, and other traditional offerings in the old symbolic system passed down through centuries of practice. Butter lamps, small brass bowls filled with clarified butter, a wick floating in the center, burning steadily. Their small warm light a constant presence in the room, day and night, replenished as needed. Juniper incense, a single stick, or a small pile of dried juniper needles burned on a coal, the smoke rising thin and fragrant. Pema tends this altar every morning before she does anything else, before she lights the kitchen fire, before she goes to milk the cattle, before she begins any of the day's other tasks. She refreshes the water bowls. She lights fresh butter lamps if the old ones have burned low. She offers a small prayer, quietly, the words worn smooth by repetition into something closer to breath than to speech. This has been the first act of her day for as long as she can remember. It will be the first act of tomorrow's, day 2. The weaving against the far wall, a traditional Bhutanese loom, a backstrap loom, the kind that has been used in Bhutan for centuries. The weaver's body itself forming part of the tension system, a strap around the lower back connecting to the loom's far end. The weaver leaning back slightly to maintain the correct tension on the warp threads. Pema's daughter, T-shirring, sits at it now in the lamplight, working on a length of cloth that will eventually become a kira, the traditional dress worn by Bhutanese women, a long rectangle of woven cloth wrapped and folded around the body in a precise traditional manner, secured at the shoulders and waist. The pattern she is weaving is complex, geometric, intricate, the kind of pattern that requires the weaver to track dozens of different colored threads simultaneously, lifting and lowering different combinations of warp threads to create the design as she works, row by row, an enormously skilled and patient craft that in Bhutan has traditionally been passed from mother to daughter across generations, much as Pema learned it from her own mother, sitting beside her exactly as T-shirring now sits beside Pema's loom in the next room. The shuttle moves back and forth, the soft, rhythmic sound of the weaving, not unlike, in its way, the steady hum of Merwin's spinning wheel in the Welsh cottage, or the soft splash of Aino's lake water. A sound produced by a human body engaged in a long, repetitive, deeply skilled craft. A sound that settles into the background of the room and becomes, after enough time, almost like breathing. T-shirring does not look up from her work often. The pattern requires her attention, but she is not straining at it, not struggling. She has been weaving since she was perhaps 12 years old, and her hands, like her mother's hands at the butter tea churn, have long since absorbed the necessary knowledge into something below conscious thought. The cloth grows slowly beneath her hands, inch by inch, evening by evening. It will take months to finish. She does not mind. This is not work to be rushed. This is work to be done well, across however much time it requires. The evening meal, the cooking continues at the hearth. Pema's specialty tonight, as on most nights, is a madachi, chilies and cheese. This dish, more than perhaps any other, defines Bhutanese cuisine to those who know it even slightly. Long green chilies, sliced, simmered in a sauce of local cheese, a soft, slightly tangy cheese made from cow or yak milk, until the cheese melts into the chili liquid, creating a dish that is, by most international standards, extraordinarily spicy. But that, in Bhutan, is considered simply food. Daily food. The food a Bhutanese person might eat several times a week without remarking on its heat at all. Pema slices the chilies with practiced speed. She adds them to the pot, along with a little water, a little oil, and chunks of the white cheese her family makes from their own cattle's milk. The smell rises immediately, sharp, green, slightly sour from the cheese, and the particular pungent heat smell of the chilies. A smell that fills the kitchen and announces, more clearly than any other single smell, that this is a Bhutanese evening. Beside it, the red rice, finishing its steam, and a simple dish of fern shoots, gathered from the forest edge that morning, sautéed quickly with a little garlic and chili. This is supper, simple, complete, built from what the valley provides, the rice from the family's own paddies, the chilies from the kitchen garden, the cheese from their own cattle, the ferns from the forest just beyond the door. A meal that connects, in every single ingredient, directly back to this particular piece of land, this particular farmhouse, this particular family's daily labor across generations. Karma, he comes in as the meal nears readiness. Pema's husband. His name is Karma. He is 68 years old. He has spent the day in the upper fields, repairing a section of irrigation channel that brings water down from a mountain stream to feed the family's terraced paddies. A channel that his own father built, and that his father's father helped maintain. A thin ribbon of moving water that has been irrigating these particular terraces for longer than anyone in the valley can say with certainty. He removes his boots at the threshold, the traditional practice in any Bhutanese home, shoes left outside or just inside the door. The household floor kept clean and barefooted. He enters. He looks at the hearth, at Pema, at the pot of a madachi nearing completion. He says little. This is not coldness between them. It is, rather, the easy, wordless communication of two people who have shared 43 years of evenings exactly like this one, who no longer need to narrate their days to each other in detail, each already understands, by long familiarity, roughly what the other's day contained. He sits near the fire. He warms his hands. The mountain evening air has turned cold quickly, as it always does once the sun drops behind the western ridge. And his hands, after a day spent in cold irrigation water, are glad of the hearth's warmth. He glances at his daughter, still weaving in the lamplight, a small, proud smile quickly suppressed, the kind of expression a parent allows themselves only briefly before returning to a more neutral, composed face. Though T-shirring, without looking up, has already seen it and feels it, the way children always feel a parent's quiet pride, even when it goes unspoken. The butter tea. Pema pours the suja into wooden bowls, small, simply turned, the wood worn smooth and slightly oily from years of holding this particular drink. The tea is poured for everyone, for Karma, for T-shirring, who pauses her weaving briefly to accept the bowl with both hands, the traditional gesture of respect when receiving food or drink from an elder. And for Pema herself, last, after everyone else has been served. The tea is salty, rich, slightly buttery, faintly smoky from the tea leaves it was brewed from. For someone encountering it for the first time, it might seem unusual closer in its richness and savoriness to a thin broth than to what most of the world calls tea. But in this house, in this valley, in this kingdom of high mountains and cold winters, this tea is simply warmth itself, made liquid and drinkable. It warms the hands first, through the wooden bowl, then the mouth, then slowly the whole body, the rich butter providing a kind of caloric warmth that black tea alone could never offer. A warmth perfectly suited to a place where the nights, even in summer, can turn surprisingly cold once the sun has gone. Karma drinks. He says quietly that it is good. Pema does not need to be told this. She already knows, but she is glad to hear it anyway. The way anyone who cooks for people they love is glad to hear it. Even after 43 years, even after some untold thousands of bowls of this exact tea poured for this exact husband. The prayer flags. Outside in the gathering dusk, the prayer flags strung between the farmhouse roof and a tall pole in the yard moved gently in the evening air. Let me tell you a little about them. The 5 colors, blue, white, red, green, and yellow, represent, in traditional Buddhist cosmology, the 5 elements: sky, air or wind, fire, water, and earth. Printed on each flag in small, dense Tibetan script are prayers and mantras. Most commonly, perhaps, the mantra of Chenrezig, the Bodhisattva of compassion, Om Mani Padme Hum, repeated across the cloth in row after row of small, careful printing. The belief, simple and beautiful, is that the wind, passing over these printed prayers, carries their blessing outward into the surrounding air, spreading goodwill and compassion to all beings touched by that same wind, regardless of whether they ever knew the flags existed. The flags are not meant to last forever. They are meant to fade, the colors bleaching slowly under sun and rain, the cloth itself eventually fraying and tearing. The prayers, in the traditional understanding, having been gradually released into the world as the cloth gradually returns to nothing. A new set of flags is hung in time to replace the old ones. This impermanence is not a flaw in the system. It is, in fact, central to its meaning. A small, constant, physical reminder of one of Buddhism's most fundamental teachings, that all things arise, persist for a time, and pass away. And that wisdom lies not in resisting this truth, but in moving through life with full awareness of it. The flags outside Pema's farmhouse have been replaced perhaps 40 times across her 64 years. Faded ones taken down, bright new ones strung up in their place. On auspicious days chosen according to the lunar calendar, with small prayers and small ceremony, and then slowly, across the following months and years, fading again. The cycle continues. It has always continued. The stars and the mountain air, outside the farmhouse, in the deepening dusk, the mountain air is thin and extraordinarily clear. Bhutan's high valleys sit at altitudes where the air itself feels different, lighter, sharper, carrying sound and scent with unusual clarity. The sky, as the last light fades behind the western ridge, begins to fill with stars in a way that few places in the modern world can still offer. No large cities anywhere near this valley. No significant light pollution to wash out the fainter stars. Just darkness deepening, and the sky responding to that darkness by revealing, gradually, the full population of stars that has always been there, simply hidden by daylight and elsewhere in the world by electric light. The mountains themselves, visible in silhouette against the last traces of color in the western sky, rise on every side of this valley. Not the very highest peaks of Bhutan, the great snow mountains along the Tibetan border, but substantial mountains nonetheless, forested to their summits in this part of the country, their shapes against the darkening sky as familiar to Pema as the shape of her own hands. She has looked at this particular silhouette of ridgeline every evening of her life. She does not consciously notice it most evenings, but if it were somehow different, if a single peak's shape had shifted, she would feel the wrongness of it immediately, the way you feel the absence of a missing tooth, even before you can name exactly what feels different. The mountains hold this valley. They always have. They are, in their patient, immovable way, as much a part of this household as the hearth fire or the altar lamps. After supper, the meal is finished. Pema clears the bowls, washing them in a small basin of water heated at the edge of the hearth. Karma sits a while longer by the fire, the warmth of the meal and the tea, and the hearth combining into the particular heavy contentment of a body that has worked hard all day and has now been properly fed. Shirring returns to her loom for a little longer, the lamplight catching the bright threads as she works. A younger child, a grandson, perhaps 7 years old, Pema's daughter's son, staying with his grandparents while his parents work in the regional town, sits near the fire too, half listening to the adults' quiet conversation, half watching the flames, his eyes growing heavier by the minute in the particular way of a young child's eyes at the end of a long day of running through fields and chasing chickens and doing all the urgent, important business of being 7 years old in a mountain valley in early autumn. Pema notices him nodding. She does not say anything immediately. She simply continues her work, glancing over occasionally, watching the boy's small struggle against sleep with the patient, amused tenderness of a grandmother who has watched this exact struggle play out in this exact room across several previous generations of children. Eventually, she will carry him or walk him to his small bed in the adjoining room, the same room where she herself slept as a child, the same room where her own children slept, the same room, in all likelihood, where her grandchildren's children will someday sleep too. But not yet. For now, he simply sits by the fire, drowsing, held by its warmth and its light, and the low murmur of his grandparents' voices. What the hearth is for. Pema knows what the hearth fire is for, not simply in the practical sense, though it is certainly true that this fire cooks every meal her family eats, warms every cold mountain evening, and has done so for as long as this house has stood. She knows what it is for in the deeper sense, the way Merwin knows what spinning is for, beside her own fire in Wales, the way Aino knows what the sauna is for, beside his own lake in Finland, the way Lorenzo knows what the sundial teaches in his garden in Italy. The hearth fire is the still point of the household's day. The morning begins at it. Pema's first task, after tending the altar, is to coax the banked coals back into flame, to set the day's first pot of tea simmering. The afternoon moves around it, the fire maintained, fed, tended through the hours of work outside. A steady presence waiting for the household's return each evening, and the evening gathers at it. Everyone, eventually, finding their way back to this room, this fire, this particular warmth. After the day's separate labors in the fields and the forest and the loom room, the fire does not judge how the day went. It simply continues being warm, being present, being exactly what a fire is, regardless of whether the irrigation channel was successfully repaired, regardless of whether the weaving progressed as quickly as hoped, regardless of any of the 100 small successes and small disappointments that make up an ordinary day. You come back to the fire. The fire receives you. This is enough. This has always been enough. Pema has watched this exact dynamic play out every single evening of her 64 years, in this exact room, around this exact hearth, or one very like it. The hearth itself rebuilt once, decades ago, when the old stones cracked, but but rebuilt in exactly the same place, exactly the same form. Because some things in a household are not meant to be relocated or redesigned. Some things are meant simply to continue. The butter lamps. Let me return for a moment to the small altar in the corner. The butter lamps burning there. Small brass bowls, perhaps 8 of them arranged before the images of the Buddha and Guru Rinpoche. Each one holding clarified butter and a small floating wick. The light they give is gentle, warm, golden, with a slight flicker that no electric light, however carefully designed, has ever quite managed to replicate the particular living quality of a small open flame, responding to currents of air too subtle to feel on the skin, but visible, always in the lamp's faint, constant motion. These lamps have been burning in one form or another in this exact corner of this exact room for as long as the farmhouse has stood. Not the same flames, of course. Each lamp burns down and is refilled again. The butter replenished daily by Pema, or in earlier generations, by her mother, her grandmother. The women of this household, across however many generations, have tended this particular altar. But the practice itself, the daily refilling, the daily lighting, the daily small offering of light and warmth to the images of compassion and wisdom that watch over this room. This practice has continued unbroken for far longer than any single flame could ever burn. There is something in this that Pema has never tried to articulate, even to herself, but that she feels quietly every single morning when she kneels before the altar and strikes the small match and watches the wick catch. Continuity, the sense of being one link in a very long chain, neither the first link nor, she hopes, the last. Simply one careful, attentive link among many, doing the small daily work that keeps the chain whole. The butter lamps flicker. The room holds their light. The children's room. Pema has carried the sleeping grandson to his bed now. The small room beside the main living space. Simple, the same wooden floor and smoke-darkened beams as the rest of the house. A single narrow bed with a thick wool blanket, woven almost certainly on the very loom T-shirring uses in the next room. Perhaps by T-shirring herself, perhaps by Pema, perhaps by some earlier generation of the household's women. She tucks the blanket around him. He does not wake. He has crossed already into the particular deep, unbothered sleep of a healthy 7-year-old at the end of a long day of running and playing in mountain air. The kind of sleep that adults, somewhere in the slow accumulation of years, mostly lose access to and spend the rest of their lives trying, with varying success, to recapture. She watches him for a moment, his small chest rising and falling, his face completely relaxed, completely without the small tensions and concerns that even young faces sometimes carry during waking hours. She has watched her own children sleep exactly like this, in this exact room, decades ago now. She has watched this same grandson's mother, her daughter, sleep exactly like this, in this exact bed, when she herself was 7. The room holds all of these sleeping children, in a sense, not literally, but in the accumulated memory of a house that has sheltered the sleep of so many small bodies across so many years. The same walls, the same low window, the same particular quality of mountain night air drifting in through the gap beneath the door. She leaves the door slightly open, the way her own mother always left it slightly open for her. She returns to the main room, the evening DPNS. The hearth fire has settled now into its evening rhythm. No longer the active flame of cooking, but the steady, gentler glow of coals that will be banked for the night before too much longer, holding their heat through the dark hours, ready to be coaxed back to life with the first light of morning. Karma has moved from his place by the fire to a low seat near the window, looking out at the dark shapes of the mountains. The first bright stars now clearly visible above the western ridge. T. Schuring's shuttle continues its rhythm at the loom, though slower now. The day's light long gone, working by the warm, limited light of a single butter lamp set beside her. The pattern emerging more by feel and long practice than by clear sight at this hour. Pema sits again beside the hearth. She picks up a small piece of mending, a sock, a child's shirt with a torn seam, and works at it in the firelight, her needle moving with the same unconscious, practiced confidence as her hands at the butter churn, at the chili pot, at every other task that fills her days. The room is quiet, not silent. The fire occasionally shifts, a coal settling with a small, soft sound. The shuttle clicks gently against the loom's frame. Somewhere outside, very faintly, a dog barks once, twice, then falls quiet, satisfied that whatever briefly concerned it has passed. But quiet, settled, the particular quiet of a household at the end of its working day, gathered together in one warm room while the cold mountain dark settles outside. Each person engaged in some small, unhurried task, none of them needing to speak much. All of them simply present together in the same warm space. This, Pema thinks, though she would never phrase it so directly even to herself, is what a good evening is. Not excitement, not event, simply this: warmth, presence, the people you love gathered close, each doing some small good thing with their hands, while outside the mountains hold the darkness and the stars come out, one by one, exactly as they always have. The sound of the night valley. If you were to step outside the farmhouse now, into the full dark of the mountain evening, this is what you would hear. The wind moving through the prayer flags, a soft, continuous fluttering, the sound of cloth in motion, carrying its printed prayers outward exactly as it was always meant to. The forest above the house, the blue pines and oaks, their branches moving very slightly, the long beards of moss swaying with them, producing a sound that is almost too soft to be called a rustle, more a kind of breathing. The whole forested mountainside seeming to expand and contract with the slow currents of cooling night air. A stream somewhere below the terraces, the same irrigation source Karma worked on today, running steadily through its channel. The sound of moving water carrying clearly through the thin, clear mountain air. An owl somewhere in the forest, calling once, a low, resonant note, different from the little owl of Lorenzo's Italian garden, but carrying something of the same quality. A sound that has been part of these mountain nights for longer than anyone can say, indifferent to the passing of any particular evening, continuous across centuries. And from inside, behind you, through the farmhouse's small windows, the soft murmur of the hearth fire settling, the gentle click of T-Shiring's shuttle, the occasional quiet word exchanged between Pema and Karma, too soft to make out clearly from outside, but warm in its tone, the tone of two people entirely comfortable in each other's presence after 43 years. The valley holds all of this: the wind, the forest, the stream, the owl, the warm low sounds from inside the farmhouse, all of it together, making the particular quiet music of a Bhutanese mountain evening. A music that is played with only the smallest variations across this same valley for as long as there have been people here to make it. Karma's thoughts. Karma does not often speak of what he thinks while sitting by the window in the evening, but if he did, he might say something like this. He thinks about the irrigation channel, whether the repair will hold through the coming monsoon, whether his sons, who have gone to find work in the regional town, will return for the harvest as they have promised, whether the rice will yield well this year, the way the early growth suggested it might. He thinks sometimes about his own father, who built much of this channel originally, who taught him everything he knows about reading water and soil and weather, who is gone now more than 15 years, but whose voice Karma still hears clearly whenever he is working at some task his father once showed him how to do. He thinks about Pema. 43 years. He does not remember anymore what it was like before she was simply part of every day. Her hands at the hearth, her voice in the next room, her particular way of humming very softly to herself while she works, a habit she may not even be fully aware of herself. He thinks about the mountains, sometimes in the most simple and wordless way, not analyzing them, not admiring them in any conscious aesthetic sense, but simply registering their presence, the way you register the presence of your own breathing, something so constant and so fundamental that it rarely rises to the level of explicit thought. But that would be immediately, jarringly absent if it ever stopped. The mountains are there. The valley is there. The house is there, warm, with his family inside it. This is, for Karma, very close to the full extent of what a contented man needs to think about. At the end of a long day, sitting by a window, watching the stars come out over a ridge he has watched his entire life. He is, in his quiet way, at peace. Tshering, weaving. A closer look. Let me return to the loom for a moment. T-shirring's pattern, emerging slowly beneath her hands, is a traditional design, one her mother taught her, one her grandmother taught her mother, a geometric pattern with a name that translates, roughly, to something like endless knot, one of the most significant symbols in Buddhist iconography, representing the interweaving of wisdom and compassion, the interconnectedness of all things, a pattern with no clear beginning and no clear end, looping continuously upon itself. It seems fitting, somehow, that this is the pattern she has chosen to weave into the kira she is making, a garment she will wear, in turn, to festivals and family gatherings for years to come, carrying this small woven prayer with her through countless future evenings, much like this one. The skill required is considerable. Dozens of different colored threads must be tracked simultaneously. The correct combination lifted and lowered for each individual pass of the shuttle. A single mistake early in the pattern, potentially requiring the unweaving of hours of careful work to correct. T-shirring rarely makes such mistakes anymore. She made many as a girl, learning at her mother's side exactly as her mother had learned before her. The frustration of unpicking a misplaced thread, the patient correction, the slow building of skill across years of practice. Now her hands simply know, the way Merwin's hands know the rawleg, the way Aino's hands know the ladle and the lurili, the way Pema's hands know the butter churn. This is what craft becomes, eventually, after enough years of patient practice. Not effort, not concentration in the strained, effortful sense. Simply knowledge, settled so deeply into the hands and the body that it requires no more conscious thought than walking or breathing or any other thing the body has learned to do so thoroughly that thinking about it would only get in the way. The shuttle moves, the endless knot grows, row by careful row, beneath her steady hands, the banking of the fire. It is time now to settle the house for the night. Pema sets aside her mending. She moves to the hearth. This is one of the most important small rituals of the Bhutanese household evening, the careful banking of the fire, ensuring that enough coals remain glowing, properly covered with ash, to hold their heat through the cold mountain night, and to be coaxed easily back into flame come morning. She arranges the remaining coals carefully. She covers them with a layer of ash, not so much that they will smother and die, not so little that they will burn through too quickly, but exactly the right amount. A judgment she makes by feel, by the particular quality of warmth still radiating from the coals, a skill as refined and as wordlessly confident as everything else her hands know how to do. This fire, banked correctly, will still be holding embers when she wakes before dawn tomorrow. It has held embers every single night, banked exactly this way, for as long as she has been the one responsible for tending it. And before that, for as long as her mother was responsible for it, and her mother's mother before that, an unbroken chain of careful evening hands, banking this same fire in this same hearth, across however many decades and generations. This particular farmhouse has stood on this particular piece of mountain land. She straightens. She looks at the glowing bed of ash-covered coals. Good. The fire will keep. The household settles. T-shirring finishes her row, ties off her working thread, and covers the loom for the night with a simple cloth, protecting the half-finished weaving from dust until morning. Karma rises from his seat by the window. His joints, after a long day's work, audibly protesting the movement in the particular way that a body past 60's joints protest most movements after a day of physical labor, though he makes no complaint about it, simply standing, stretching briefly, and moving toward the sleeping quarters. The butter lamps at the altar are left burning. These are not extinguished at night. The small, constant light, considered an appropriate offering to maintain through the dark hours. A tiny, warm presence watching over the sleeping household. The room empties gradually. First the grandson, asleep already in his small room, then T-shirring to the room she shares when she is home with her younger sister, then Karma to the bed he and Pema have shared for 43 years, in the room just beyond the kitchen, a room with its own small window facing, like every window in this house, toward the mountains. Pema is last, as she is most nights, taking one final look around the main room before she follows her husband to bed, the banked fire glowing softly, the altar lamps flickering their small, steady light, the covered loom standing quiet in the corner, the whole room settled, secure, ready for the night. She nods, the small, satisfied nod of someone confirming that all is as it should be. She climbs into bed beside Karma, the thick wool blanket, heavy and warm, woven on the very loom in the next room, by hands much like her own. She closes her eyes. The farmhouse, 18 night. The house settles fully into its night quiet. The hearth fire banked glows softly beneath its covering of ash. A small, steady warmth at the center of the dark and silent main room. The butter lamps at the altar flickered gently, their light moving across the painted images of the Buddha and Guru Rinpoche in small, constant motion, the only movement in an otherwise still room. Outside, the prayer flags continue their slow fluttering in the night wind, carrying their printed prayers outward into the darkness, exactly as they have every night, exactly as they will every night to come. The forest above the house breathes in its slow nighttime way, the moss-draped branches moving very slightly, the whole mountainside settling into the particular deep stillness of a Himalayan valley at night. The stream continues its steady running, feeding the terraced paddies below, the same patient water that Karma's grandfather first channeled to this land, still moving, still working, completely unconcerned with the passage of any single night or any single generation. The stars, in their full mountain clarity, wheel slowly overhead. The same stars, more or less, that have wheeled over this exact valley for as long as there have been eyes here to watch them. For far longer than that, in fact, the stars having been entirely indifferent to the arrival of any particular farmhouse on any particular mountainside. The mountains hold the valley holds the farmhouse holds the family, sleeping now, each in their own small room, each held by the same thick walls, the same smoke-blackened beams, the same accumulated warmth of a house that has been doing exactly this, holding a family safely through the night, for as long as anyone can clearly say, "You are drifting. You are still in the warm room of this farmhouse, or somewhere very like it, the hearth fire glowing softly beneath its bank of ash, the butter lamps flickering their small, steady light, the prayer flags moving gently outside, carrying their quiet blessings into the mountain dark, the covered loom resting in its corner, the endless knot pattern waiting, unfinished, for tomorrow's evening hands to continue it. All of it here, all of it holding you. Your breathing has slowed to match the patient, unhurried rhythm of this household's evening. The rhythm of people who have learned, across generations, that the end of the day is not for rushing, not for striving, but simply for gathering close to the fire, doing some small good thing with your hands, and then, eventually, letting the warmth carry you toward sleep. This is what a Bhutanese farmhouse evening offers, if you allow yourself to receive it, even only in imagination, even only for this one quiet hour before your own sleep arrives. A reminder that warmth does not require grandness, that peace does not require event, that a hearth fire properly tended, a family gathered close, a small altar lamp burning steadily through the dark hours. These simple, ancient, endlessly repeated things are enough. They have always been enough. You do not need anything more than this tonight. Just warmth, just the quiet murmur of a settled house, just the patient dark outside, and the patient mountains beyond it, and the patient stars beyond those. You can rest now, completely. The last things, the hearth fire glows beneath its ash, small and steady, holding its warmth through the dark hours, as it has every night for as long as this house has stood. The butter lamps flicker before the painted images of compassion and wisdom, their small light a constant, quiet offering through the night. The prayer flags move in the mountain wind, carrying their printed blessings outward, indifferent to whether anyone is awake to witness the carrying. The loom stands covered and quiet, the endless knot pattern paused mid-row, waiting patiently for tomorrow. The mending lies folded beside Pema's empty seat. The wooden bowls, washed, are stacked and ready for morning's tea. The grandson sleeps soundly in the small room, his breathing slow, and even his dreams, if he is dreaming at all, almost certainly filled with chickens and fields. and all the urgent, important business of being 7. T-Sharing sleeps. Karma sleeps, his joints finally at rest after the day's labor. Pema sleeps beside him, her hands, which have churned butter tea and tended altars and banked fires, and mended small torn seams for 64 years, finally, completely still. The mountains rise on every side of the dark valley, holding it the way they have always held it. The stream runs on, feeding the terraces, indifferent to the hour. The stars wheel slowly overhead, and somewhere, very faintly, if the wind is right, you might still hear the prayer flags fluttering gently against their pole, carrying their small, constant blessing into the vast, dark, star-filled mountain night. The hearth fire is banked, small and orange, beneath gray ash. The butter lamps are burning, steady, golden, constant. The prayer flags are moving, blue, white, red, green, yellow. Sky and air and fire, and water and earth. The loom is covered. The endless knot is waiting. The mountains are dark against the stars. The same mountains Pema has watched her whole life. The same stars. The stream is running, feeding the terraces, as it has for generations. The grandson is sleeping, dreaming of chickens and fields. T-Sharing is sleeping, her hands resting from the day's weaving. Karma is sleeping, his body finally still after a long day's labor. Pema is sleeping beside him as she has for 43 years. The house holds them all, the thick rammed earth walls, the smoke-blackened beams, the warmth that has gathered here for generations. You are held tonight too, by this same patient warmth, by this same quiet mountain dark, by the prayer flags, carrying their blessing toward you even now, even from so far away, because the wind does not know distance the way we do. You are safe. You are warm. You are held in the farmhouse, in the valley, in the kingdom, in the clouds. The fire will keep through the night. The lamps will keep their light. The mountains will keep their watch. And you can simply rest. Good night, dear friend. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. Good night, and